I'm Jerry Matchin, also known as Baby Huey. This is my place of business, Stiix Billiards, Ventura, California. The room has been open since about this time in 1993. I put the room together, found the building, built it out. I'm the only owner.
Have you ever experienced a time like this?
I remember I'm much older than you are, Daniel, and I remember, I was born in 1948, and I remember 1952 and 53 with the polio scare. People were coming down with polio, and that's when Jonas Salk came out with the polio vaccine. And I remember one summer, I was really young, and my mother had me going to some swimming lessons, and we stopped abruptly, and I didn't understand why. And it took me a while to figure it out. Obviously, I was 4 or 5 years old at the time, until we were vaccinated. So I do kind of remember, in a way, something like this.
So now you're a business owner, much, much different from being a kid.
That's right.
What's that kind of like now? You got to make big grown-up decisions, right?
Yes. I'll digress a little bit before I get into it. I opened this room not necessarily to make money. I want to make money, but I opened it because of my love of the game and my love of the people that play pool. That's kind of been has been my pastime endeavor my entire life since I can remember. And so I opened the room up for that purpose, to have a nice, comfortable place for people to play, a safe place, and that's what this room was all about when we put it together, my wife and I. And it's hard now to see the place with only me and my wife in here, bad grammar, my wife and me in here, and working and trying to, get the place cleaned up better, painted, whatnot, and waiting for the day when we can open. So it's difficult. It's not been a waste, the time that we're closed. I've been able to, I do my own equipment in here, recovering, refelting, repairing, and whatnot. So I've been able to do some refelting of tables and kind of fixing up some of the equipment. Did a lot of painting, spot painting, and a lot of deep cleaning. Fixed up some of my refrigeration equipment, things to keep me busy. That the business needs. You don't realize when you're open 365 days a year and you're looking at your business, when it finally has no customers in it, you can really take a look at the room. You can see dust, dirt, whatever, smudges that you never saw when you were open. So I'm able to see a lot right now that needs to be done.
What day did you close down? The specific day?
Ventura County issued its bulletin on the 17th of March, I think it is, which was a Tuesday, and everything was to close down at midnight. So that's when we closed.
Was there a delayed reaction between you and with you and your wife when that happened? Explain that process a little bit between the 17th of March to the moment you guys decided, you know what, let's just start making improvements. Was that immediate?
It is, because my wife, her part of our relationship is she's the clean freak. She wants to get stuff done. She wants to repair things and keep it nice and orderly, and I had no choice. Because I'm married to her and I love her, and that's what she wants to do. She wants to have a nice, clean place, and I'm all on board with that.
Do you think this has been a popular sort of reaction from business owners, not just other pool rooms, but other businesses? Have you been seeing your neighbors doing the same thing?
I've talked with a lot of my neighbors. Some of them are doing the things that we're doing here, but they're doing it not reluctantly, but they're doing it to stay busy, and they're hurting. And so they're, again, taking the opportunity to work on their business and try to improve its appearance and look and whatnot, but they're also very sad because a lot of them are self-employed, they're out of work, their employees are out of work, there's no money coming in, and nobody knows when that's going to change.
What's the difference between you and some of those others that are, some of your neighbors and maybe some other pool room owners that you know of? What's the difference? What do you think are some of the differences between you and them?
The big difference is that being in the pool room business was not our career. This is a second career for us. My wife and I were both registered nurses. We worked for the County of Los Angeles for 40 years, and we have, pensions with them. And this was a retirement project for me, although I started it almost 30 years ago. This is not our main income. This is something that I like to do for the community, for myself. And my wife helps me with that. So it hasn't been difficult for me with respect to finances. But my neighbors and others that I know in business, it has. And I know some room owners around the country that I've spoken with. Many of them are renters, need the business open to generate a livelihood. Most of them that I've talked to are hanging in there, but they're all concerned about when they're going to be able to open, because our business is a business of congregation, like a restaurant or a bar or a theater or a church, where people have to come in here in order for you to earn a living. And if they don't let people come in, you're not going to earn a living.
What advice do you have in the meantime, in the time being, for room owners right now that may be facing some of the struggles that you're aware of?
Well, get your place cleaned up. Get your program in order. If there's things that you thought about that you might like to make a change with, this is the time to give that some serious consideration. Look at the possibility that if and when you do get open, that you're going to have a kind of a different rule about how your business is going to operate. For example, are we going to have to wear masks? Are you going to have your employees wear masks and gloves? What are you going to do about social distancing? That's a new term for this outbreak. I never heard that term before. What are you going to do about your general occupancy? Are you going to be able to have tournaments or leagues? How can you have a league when you have, occupancy problem? So start thinking those things through and identify what you think might work when you get open. Not for you particularly, but being in compliance with governmental rules and regulations that we know are coming down. I know that I'm going to be limited on my occupancy. I know that. And I know that I'm going to have to be masked up. And I know that I'm going to have to sit on people, on customers, like I never did before, about getting too close to one another and too close to me, and how am I going to handle that, and train my staff to deal with some of the problems that are going to come with that. Pool rooms on the West Coast have difficulty surviving anyway because of the high rents out here. It's very difficult for a large, like for example, I'm a 5,000 square foot building. Somebody perhaps having to pay $2 a square foot, that's $10,000 a month. That comes right off the top for your landlord. So, how are you going to be able to do that? What's your staying power, in other words? I think pool rooms are going to suffer. I think people that have either a very reasonable rent or own the building might be able to pull through. But people in a rock'em sock'em type room with 25 employees and rent of $30,000 a month and overhead of another 50 or whatever thousand, they're going to have a hard time.
What changes in the way pool rooms operate do you think will have to happen when the new normal sets in?
Regarding the new normal, we don't know what that's going to mean. We think we know, we think we have some ideas about what that will be, and how long will the new normal last? Are we going to have a permanent, not a permanent, but a long-term, let's say, decrease in our occupancy? Will it last to next year? Will it last 2 months? We don't know that yet. There's a lot of supposition about that. So people, small business people like myself are going to have to look at ways to generate enough income to survive. And what does that mean? Well, it could mean raising rates. It could mean any number of things. Those are difficult choices because customers, potential customers don't want to have to pay extra money just for you to survive. That's your problem, not their problem. So you have to figure out ways to generate income, to generate enthusiasm for your business, some new way of advertising, some method that you can attract people into your business. One example of that I'm thinking about, and maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit, is I'm thinking about gift certificates. If you come in and spend X amount of dollars, I'm going to give you a gift certificate for $10 or $20 that you can redeem. I'm going to try to have some customer appreciation days. What does that mean? Maybe I'll have some tournaments that are no entry fee tournaments. So for me, I'm going to look at ways to show appreciation to my customers, to my community, and maybe have to take a little bit more of a hit financially in the short run in hopes that whatever I can have for the future, I might bring to fruition. That, in other words, I can re-stimulate interest in the business. So I'm looking at some things like that. I think it's always good to look at what other people do in a similar business to see what they're doing. I'm sure that Burger King looks at what McDonald's is doing, and I'm sure that Goodyear Tire is looking at what Bridgestone Tire is doing. I think we're always looking to see how we can improve, and people like to mimic. That's just part of our nature. So yes, there'll be collaboration for sure, and there'll also be just kind of looking. It may not be open collaboration, but maybe I'll visit some rooms and see if their beer specials are working or what they're doing and how they're handling it. And I hope that my colleagues in business elsewhere would come in here and hopefully I'm successful and they can learn something, because I do want to see pool succeed.
So you'd agree then that now is really a time for us to kind of be united as business owners and sort of be open and willing to working with each other, cooperating with each other.
I do, but I'm not so sure that's always possible on a real life way, because people are kind of pulled back a little bit. They don't necessarily want to share their successes because they don't want to lose their success. So it's kind of hard sometimes. A person that I collaborate with a lot is Chris Swart in Fremont. I don't have his type of operation, but when I go up there, I ask him a lot of questions about why do you do this and why do you do that and how do you do this and how do you do that, and he is an excellent source for me of information. For example, his method of ordering supplies and my method are completely different. He orders his online for the most part, and I go to Smart and Final and buy mine like that. And I'm looking at maybe I need to do what Chris is doing and save some time, buy a little bit more in bulk, save a little more money, things like that. That's more the back office type way of the business. But looking at pool in general, what type of tournaments work well? Do Jack and Jill tournaments work well? Do player tournaments, quote unquote player tournaments, work well to get customer infusion into your business? So there's a lot that we can look at, and I certainly will.
Can I put you in the shoes of a renter? Like, what if you were a renter today? What would be some of the immediate things you would think about?
Businesses need to talk to their city government. Maybe some of the permits that cost you money to renew each year, your alcohol license, $500, your business license, $800. Maybe you can talk to your city council people and ask them to forgive that for a year. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, But people that are in our types of business do have a lot of permit expenses each year. And cities need to think about their small businesses. They do.
What do you have to say to any viewers out there? Not just the business owner, but also to your customers and to pool players or whatever. What message?
As a room owner and having customers that come in, I'm not so sure what I would say to them, other than I'm happy to see you. I can't hug you, I can't shake your hand, but I'm happy that you're alive and that I'm alive and that we're here together. And I mean that. And that we can start this journey, this reconstructive journey together. I like my customers, and I do believe my customers like me, and I really want them to know that, that I'm here for them, and I want them to enjoy my business because we're a small community, pool players are. So that's where I'm at with that. And thank you for coming in. And if there's anything that I have done or can do that you'd like to see changed or whatever, please let me know. And a lot of times when you're in business for a long time, you kind of feel that people might be abrasive to you once in a while. How come your bathroom's not as clean as it should be? What do you mean it's not as clean as it should be? Constructive criticism or constructive praise or whatever, it's important to establish that dialogue again with your customer. It's important. We're all in this together.
So Jerry, if I, was the mayor of the city and I told you you could open up Stiix Billiards tomorrow, what would you do to make that possible for your customers and for your local agencies that are giving you permission?
If I was given the green light, Daniel, to open tomorrow, I think that it would be Customer Appreciation Day. I think that I might let my customers play free for the day or even longer. I wouldn't give free beer, I'll never do that, but I think I'd give out free soda and hot dogs to my customers to let them know how much I care about them and how happy I am that they're back. I don't want to gush over them, but I want them to know that I do appreciate them. That would be one of the very first things that I do. But it might be a day that I would cry because it'd be a great day. I'm waiting for that day to happen. I want it to happen tomorrow. Can you please be our mayor?
Do you have, I notice you're optimistic. And you guys are optimistic. Would that be correct?
I'm a pool player, Daniel. I'm always going to make that shot and win that match. I am optimistic.